Hello, everybody. So good to see everybody jumped on. We've got a lot of viewers on, and that's a great thing. My name's Tim Guerrette. I've been doing real estate for about 40 years total, but I've been a licensed real estate professional since 2001. So I'm on my 25th year, 26th year. And I have a Florida real estate license to instruct as well. And I have a academy here in Naples, Florida, and it's Florida Pro Real Estate Academy. So we're just glad you're here. We've got so much great feedback. We've been doing this a long time. I think I've taught maybe 3,500 people, both in the 63 hour, the 45 hour, and mostly my favorite is the Florida Real Estate Exam Cram. So this is a good thing, and it's great that you guys are here. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and get going. If you look in the comments, there's a couple things I want to show you or share with you. There's a couple links. It's our Facebook group. I'll explain that in a little bit. And then also, we have a free quiz. We're going to go over some things here tonight. And then we're going to also do some questions at the end. So, listen, all this is fun. We're going to make it fun. Please, please, please comment. I would like for you to go ahead and put in the comments where you are viewing from on YouTube, or we do have some people on Facebook as well. But please put in the comments where you're viewing from. Love to see that. And again, we are family, and our goal, number one goal, is to make sure you pass the Florida real estate exam, hopefully on the first try. And another thing I want to mention, and this is kind of one of my pet peeves. Some people may tell you, hey, listen, why are you getting your Florida real estate license? You just tell them to mind their own business. Listen, I've been licensed. It's been so beneficial. I think most people will tell you that, hey, it's a great thing to get. Get your license. Don't listen to everybody, because a lot of people are going to say there's already too many real estate professionals in Florida. We live in the Sunshine State. Trust me, we're going to have plenty room for everybody. If you hustle, if you work hard, you can make a lot of money, and it's something that feels very rewarding. There's nothing like selling somebody. I just did it last week. A young couple, one of their first homes was their first home, and going in and just the excitement of them doing that is amazing. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over chapter one. It could be chapter one, unit number one, section number one, whatever your school, your 63-hour school has. Um, let's go ahead and look at it. It's going to be called the real estate business. And what I want to do is, this is such a good unit because it lays down a great foundation for you for the test. So it's a great place. So let's go ahead, without further ado, let's get started on it. I'm going to put myself in the corner, stay out of your way. Again, let's just talk about this as a little visual footprint. But this unit is very important because it, like I said, it lays down the framework and the foundation for you to be successful, both in your career and passing exam. We want you to have a successful career, but let's get this uh, let's get this test over with, right? I know you're probably all with me. Let's start out first. I'm going to go ahead and give you a link. I'm going to go ahead and give you a link to get this candidate information booklet. This candidate information booklet is put out by the DBPR. And what it is, it tells you exactly what's going to be on the state exam, or at least the chapters of what to study and what to read. Now, believe it or not, in chapter one, it could be chapter, section, or unit one. There's only one question on the state exam from this chapter, but it's a building block chapter, right? So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this information pop up. So one question on the state exam from chapter or unit one. But what you need to do is download this candidate information booklet. And there's a couple places you can get it. You can Google it. I think it's online, but I'm going to go ahead and stick my, and for those who didn't get it, I'm going to go ahead and stick the link to our group, which is our Facebook group. And I'm going to put it in the chat again one more time. And make sure you go ahead and go to our Facebook group. And you may need to answer a couple questions. But if you do it like right now, I'm going to go as soon as we finish up. I'll accept everybody into the group. So you guys are all in. Doesn't cost anything. It's just, and you go up and I'm going to show you where you can find it. But this is what it looks like. I got the arrow going to it. It's the candidate information booklet. And in that, it's going to tell you each chapter and how many questions from each chapter. So, for instance, chapter one, It's only got one question in it, but we just don't know which one that is. Chapter 2, you have 6 questions that are going to be on the state exam from that. Chapters 5 and 11, big chapters, big units. They're going to have 12 questions each on that. So again, great tool. Keeps you going in the right direction, knowing where to put your time in your study information. So let's go ahead and go forward. This is what the group looks like. What I need you to do is when you get to the group, you will see a little section up top. And as you can see, our group's almost 3,000 members. And if you look at the very top, you will see a thing that says files. In the files section, just click on that and you can download that PDF there. It's a great thing. And then there's also a printable law guide that kind of gives you some stuff on chapters and things like that. So we are constantly updating our Facebook group. It's a great group, a lot of people, a lot of questions, a lot of things that go on in there. So it's an excellent source and resource for you. So those of you who are watching live or those of you watching later, please go into the Florida Pro Real Estate Exam Cram group. Make sure you go to the group, not the Facebook page, because the group's got all the good stuff in it. Okay, so we got some people that are ready to go in there. Now let's talk about it. You're going to see the stuff we cover is going to probably be on the state exam. From my experience, and again, I've been doing this a long time. I can tell you that a question is going to be almost exactly, or a variation is going to be very similar. Okay, so what I try to do is I try to teach you so when they are managing that property. A rental agent, this is a different thing. A rental agent is someone who merely acquires tenants for the owner. It could be a residential property or it could be a commercial property, big or small. Okay, so the big thing on this is to remember that a rental agent gets tenants for property owners and a property manager manages that property. Okay. Very important to remember those two differences because on the test, they kind of get a little bit tricky on it. Okay. So just remember that when you see it on the exam, you'll remember, I remember Tim said that. Okay. Now, let's talk about absentee owner. This is also potentially going to be on the test. I know for sure that the question or a variation of the question is going to be on there. Now, what is an absentee owner? Super easy, right? This is like a easy 1 point on your exam. Now, remember for the state exam, you have to get a 75 out of 100. But that means you can miss, 24, 25. Okay. So, but we don't want to do that. We want to get more. Now, what is an absentee owner? An absentee owner is nothing more than a person who does not reside, an owner that does not reside in their property. Florida is really big in absentee ownership because a lot of people know that they can make money in Florida. They come down here maybe, 6 months of the year. They come down here maybe 4 months of the year, whatever it might be, 2 months, and they go back up north and they might have somebody that looks over their property. They are called an absentee owner, absentee owner. Okay. Now, that person who looks over it could be a licensed property manager or it could be just a person, Joe across the street, whatever that might be. Now, what I want you to really pay attention to on the state exam is they are going to ask you, why is absentee ownership so big in the state of Florida? And it's really due to the rapid growth we have. I mean, pretty much everywhere in the state of Florida is growing leaps and bounds. And, you might get a little steady streak for a while, but it spikes up again and then it steadies. I think we're at about 23 million people in the state of Florida, maybe a little bit more. It's crazy. I think we just beat out New York. So I think we're like the third largest in the United States. So again, that's why if you see that word absentee ownership, okay, make sure that little buzzword goes up. Okay, let's go over to the golden rule. Now, I'm going to make this super, super easy for you. Super easy. Okay, the golden rule in compensation, whether you need to be licensed or not, is just a couple easy words. If somebody, whether it be a property manager or a sales agent or we call a rental agent, if they are inside a property or if they are working for an owner. If they get paid commission, if they get paid commission, they must be licensed. So on the state exam, if you read through the question and they say they're getting commission, it could be anything. It could be a promise of a commission. It could be saying, hey, if you, they might have never sold anything yet or rented anything yet, but if they're promised it, technically they're working for commission. If they're working for commission, they must be licensed. If they are working for salary, salary only, not salary plus, hey, if you rent a couple apartments, I'll give you a little extra bonus because then that will be commission, right? It's just another word for commission, bonus. Okay, so salary only, they must, they do not need to have their real estate license, salary only, must be only. If they are getting salary and they're getting some sort of commission, they must be licensed. If they're getting commission, always licensed. So all you have to do is remember this: salary, no license; commission, must be licensed; a combination of commission and salary must be licensed. All right, very easy concept. I'm going to go ahead and take my face off there so you can read this whole thing. Key concept: bonus and transactional basis are fancy exam words for commission, right? Any introduction or commission instantly tips the scale in requiring a real estate license. Okay, is everybody good on that one? Again, golden rule: no license if it's salary only. If it's commission or combination of commission and salary, must be licensed. Again, I'll repeat a lot of things because I think what it does, it really helps you remember and it kind of drills it in. Okay, that's kind of like what I like to do to make sure you remember it. Now, let's talk about appraisals. Appraisals are kind of an interesting thing. I can tell you, I've been doing real estate for 26 years, never done an appraisal. I've done many CMAs and I've done a couple brokers' price opinions, probably about 5 or 6 in my career. Now, an appraisal basically is a formal document that shows the value of a particular property. Now, if someone asks you, hey, can you do an appraisal for me? The answer is yes, you can do an appraisal. Normally, we do CMAs. Normally, we'll do a broker's price opinion, but CMAs are our number one thing. And that's going to be a marketing tool for us. If somebody asks you, hey, how much is my house valued at? You want to do a CMA for them because hopefully, maybe at a later time, you might get a listing contract with them. Okay. So, a couple things to remember. One thing you will see on the state exam is if it talks about anything that's federally related transaction, loan, FHA, VA, USDA, any type of federally related loan, we cannot do an appraisal for. Okay, we cannot do it. So if you see the word federally related, big X, right? We cannot do that appraisal for them. All right, just keep that in mind. Now, if it's an appraisal, then there's no loan hooked to it or attached to it that's federally related, we can go ahead and do that. Again, I've been doing this a long time. Do not do that much. There's a couple rules, and we'll talk about that in the next slide about what we must comply with certain guidelines of the USPAP. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, if somebody says, I'll pay you $500 if you come do an appraisal on my house, okay, which is very rare, he'd be a broker's price opinion, you cannot take that money directly. So remember, on the state exam, anytime they ask you if you're doing your real estate duties, you can't be paid directly. Anytime you get paid or funneled through, it must go to your broker and from your broker to you. Okay, is everybody good on that one? That is very important. Super easy to remember, though. You can never be paid directly. Now, if they come over and say, "Hey, can you pressure wash my yard or my driveway, or help me with moving a TV out or something like that," and they want to give you $25, not going to be a big deal. But if it's related to your real estate transaction, you must go through the broker and down to you. Do not get that wrong. Okay. Now, federally related, we can't get involved, but if it's not, we're good to go. Okay. Very easy on that one. Let's go to the next question or the next information block. Now, a couple things we must keep in mind. If we do an appraisal, a true traditional appraisal, okay, a true traditional appraisal, not a CMA, not a broker's price opinion, but a true traditional appraisal, we can get paid for that. So if you see it on exam, we can get paid. If it's Fed related, we can't do it. But if we do that, we can never call it, we can never call ourselves an appraiser. Okay. Even though it's one of our duties, we cannot call ourselves an appraiser. Now, when a real appraiser in the state of Florida, when I say a real appraiser, somebody who does it for a profession every day, they go through a lot of school, they do a lot of things. So, cannot call ourselves appraisers. So, on the state exam, which the question's out there, can you call yourselves an appraiser or us as licensed real estate professionals? The answer is no. Another one. Okay. Now, if we do an appraisal, a true appraisal, which I told you before, been doing this a long time, never did a real appraisal, uh, you must go by the USPAP guidelines. USPAP guidelines. Now, what I need you to do, this is very important. Listen up closely. If you got a phone with you, whatever you got, don't be shy. Take a quick picture of this, right? What I need you to do is I'm gonna advance here real quick. I need you, and I'm gonna get rid of myself for a minute, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump off. I need you to know each one of these words exactly. Okay, exactly. Uniform standards of professional appraisal practice. Say it over. Uniform standards of professional appraisal practice. What they're going to do on the state exam is they're going to throw out there, they're going to say, what does it mean? And they're going to come up with some other name. They might say Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Program, Uniform Standards of Personal Appraisal Practice. You need to know it stands for Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice, right? It's a lot to say, but remember, it's the USPAP. If we as real estate professionals do an appraisal, we must go by these guidelines. And what these guidelines are nothing more than making sure that everybody does appraisals the same way. Okay, what they don't want to do is they don't want to see Joe out there appraising a bedroom in a house much different than Bill. They want to make sure that everybody kind of knows exactly what that bedroom might be worth, what the swimming pool is going to be worth. It's basically a set of guidelines that appraisers go by. Okay, is everybody good on that one? Little thumbs up. I can see. I need some comments out there. Need some comments in there. Okay, good. We got a good crew, bunch of people. Love it when there's a lot of people on. And also in the comments, if you could just tell us where you found out about the class too, let me know so I know where to, send my energies. And then if you do a comment, what I have a tendency to do is I'll even crank out the air horn every now and then. There we go. Yeah, there's a little air horn. All right. Now, hope you guys are having fun. I want you guys to get this so we learn and remember. That's the key. Okay. Now let's talk about CMAs. Now, CMA is something that we do almost weekly. Our goal is, matter of fact, one of the brokerages I worked at, one of our goals was to do a CMA a day for a month. So it'd be 30 of them. What that does is it produces activity, it produces clients, customers, things like that. So a CMA is nothing more than an analysis, and it's a range. Keep that in mind, a range of values. We're not going to be 100% exact. I just did one about 45 minutes ago. Quick, boom, boom, boom. Told my friend, hey, house is worth probably 1.6 million. He goes, okay. And that's kind of where we're at. We're going to probably list it in June. So it's kind of it's not an exact science. It's kind of like, hey, we are using our profession to kind of give a strong opinion on what the value and where we might list that house at. Okay. So remember, CMA is a great marketing tool for us. It's what we use all the time. Now, a CMA can never, never, never be called an appraisal. Okay. Do not get those mixed up. Matter of fact, there's a test exam question. A CMA cannot be called an appraisal. A CMA cannot be called an appraisal. And it does not have to follow the USPAP guidelines or the rules, okay? It does not have to follow them. Now, what we need to use for a CMA is we need to find out what sold in a community or in the area, expired listings, what was it being listed for and when it expires, and I throw in actives. So, what did it sell for? What's it expired? And active listings. I take all three of those and I get a pretty good number. Now, there's some tools out there that you can get that help you out greatly. And you can kind of get an idea. Like, for instance, if you're selling a house and you go in and you look in an area and 3 bedroom, 2 bath homes with a swimming pool are all selling for right around 750, 720. You're looking at probably somewhere in the middle of that, 740, whatever, 730. And then depending on, the shape of the house and how things look, it's kind of worked out that way. Very similar to when you maybe go trade your car in, right? You got to have a low end and you have a high end somewhere in the middle. And if the house is like awesome, then you obviously go a little bit higher. You got to work with your sellers, see what they want to do, and try to get it listed for the right price. Okay, everybody good on that one? All right, we got good bunch of information going. Now, broker's price opinion. Broker's price opinion. There's going to be a keyword that I need you to remember. It's going to be a written opinion. Now, a CMA is going to be written down. It's going to be a PDF. It's going to be something sent over. But this is actually where the broker or the sales associate working on behalf of the broker is actually going to, have a document saying this is the value of this property. Okay. Now, on the state exam, they might ask you, can a sales associate do a broker's price opinion? And the answer is yes, because remember, we as sales associates, I'm a broker associate. I have been a broker. I was a broker for 5 years in my own company, had about 50 agents. It was great, but I like teaching, so I didn't have too much time to do that. So on the state exam, you're going to get a question: can a broker's price opinion be conducted or completed by a sales associate? And the answer is yes, because we are working underneath the direction of the broker, as you'll see in this design here. Okay, so the answer is this. Let me give you an example of when a broker's price opinion might be used. You might have for instance, you might have a company where you live that brings in people from other parts of the United States or the world, and then part of their package for them to work for that company, they actually will help them purchase a home. So what I did is I had a company one time, they before they would purchase that home, they would have me go in and do a broker's price opinion to make sure that that home was actually being sold for a value that was proper, right? So again, that's another way that a broker's price opinion. Also, I had another one where I had to go in and go back in time and get a broker's price opinion someone had passed of what that house was valued back about 3 or 4 years ago. So I went in and did a broker's price opinion and went backwards, filled out the document because they needed it for the trust. So I was able to, professionally tell them what the value of that house was back a few years ago based on my knowledge of it. Okay? So that's where you use that broker's price opinion. Not a whole lot. I've been doing real estate for quite some time, but I've probably done maybe 5 to 10 of these things. You can make money on them. I mean, there's banks out there that'll do it. Remember, if a bank just wants to know how much the value of the house is, they can go to you. It's not a federally related loan. No one's buying the house. They just need to know the value of it. Pay you 500 instead of paying an appraiser, $1,000 or 800 or 900, right? So they can. There's ways to do that. You can charge for CMAs and BPOs, but sellers banks cannot pay you directly. So in other words, you can't have your own little deal going. Everything you do must go through your broker. That's just a key thing. Keep in mind. Okay. All right. We're doing good. We're doing good. Now, let's talk about it. You've got an appraisal. Okay. Must you follow the USPAP? The answer is yes. So that's going to be probably something you're going to see on the state exam. You have a CMA. It's going to be a range of values. Okay. Do you have to follow the USPAP? The answer is no, not on a CMA. You can do payment routes to the broker. Remember, if you get paid for it, you got to go through them. That's going to be a key thing to remember for the state exam. A broker's price opinion, that's a written, keyword written, okay, opinion of value. All right. Do you need to follow the USPAP guidelines? No, you don't. Okay. You can do that. We're allowed to do it. Even as a sales associate, don't let them trip you up on the state exam. Say only the broker can. We as sales associates work underneath the broker. We can do that. We have to route any types of payments through the broker as well. Okay. Everybody good. All right. We're moving. We got this one good. This is a great unit. Chapter one's good. It's a great building block. Now, I can tell you on the state exam, you're probably going to be asked one of these questions. Define a spec home, define a custom home, and define a track home. Okay. These are residential construction. These are residential construction types of residential construction. Okay. Not commercial, just residential. Now, a spec home. I don't want you to get confused on this. A spec home is normally a home. Somebody owns a piece of land, could be the builder, could be somebody other than the builder, and they get the builder or the builder themselves. They will put a home on that, hoping and praying and with a lot of heart that a buyer is going to come. Build and they will come. That's how I remember that. Build and they will come. They do not have a buyer for it in place already. Now, I will tell you that a lot of times in Florida, they're going to get the lot cleared and people are already looking to try to find a way to buy that thing. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So, spec home is build and they will come. And usually a landowner, a builder, or maybe one and the same builds it and they will buy it. Okay. Now, a custom home is great. This is like the granddaddy. I can build whatever I want. Normally, a custom home is built by a custom home builder, and they will give you anything you want in your home. I know a guy that was actually, good question. Are these questions going to be on the exam? Yes, they are. They're going to be almost, from my experience, they're going to be almost exactly. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to instruct about 3,000 people, maybe even five. And I get feedback, right? I don't know the exact wording, but you'll definitely see them. Good question. Thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that up there real quick. That deserves to be seen. Yay, Azealia. All right, good. I will give her a little clap too. We got to make this a little, or let's go with a little air horn. Maybe we can do it a little bit louder. Little air horn. There we go. All right, good. Great question. Yes, these are going to be on the exam. What I need you to do is when you see the word spec home, you're going to be like, oh, I remember Tim saying that's build and they will come. That means the builder's going to build it. They don't have a person buying it yet, but they're going to in hopes of. Okay. Custom home is the Mac Daddy, right? This is going to be the one where we can do anything. We can put in a big pool. We can put in a garage for our RV. This is going to be an amazing thing in a custom builder. So basically, sales contract precedes the construction. In other words, they're going to have a sales contract all made up, and the builder's going to go ahead and build it to the preferences they want. Okay, to the preferences they want. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move myself a little bit and get myself out of the way. A track home, very common in the state of Florida. Okay, track home. This is nothing more than a community normally where a builder will build a series of homes. The homes look almost exactly the same. I've been over in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and other places in Florida where you go in a community and you get lost because all the houses look the same, right? Builder offers some choices of floor plans. So in other words, you might get uh, the palmetto model or the uh, coconut palm model or whatever the model might be. You have maybe 5 or 6 choices and you make those choices, and then they will go ahead and either build it for you, or if the one's already sitting there, you can go ahead and do that. Now, some people might get confused on spec home while they're building it and then you're moving in. Track homes are going to be communities. They're going to be built on lots, right? Usually they're going to give you a lot number and that type of thing. Okay. And you have limited ability to make some changes. Just, maybe some minor things here and there. They're not going to let you change the whole layout. Okay. Everybody good on that one? Very, very important. Know the difference between spec home, custom home, track homes. Remember, they're residential construction. Pretty easy to remember. Not too difficult. But just kind of brush up on it and kind of go over it and make sure you're comfortable with it. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We got. Just trying to make sure I get the other stuff up here. Okay. Now, chapter 1 talks a lot about being a real estate professional, a sales associate, a broker associate. What are all these people? A broker. They'll also talk about you being a realtor. Okay. So when you're a realtor, you are a member of the National Association of Realtors. So you go out, you pass your state exam. Okay. You go ahead and pass it. At that point, you have a eligibility to make your license um, current. You're going to be coming out inactive. Now, to make it current and make it active, right? You're going to have to hang it with a broker. Now, when you hang it with the broker, it becomes active. Okay. Current means you paid your bills, you're good, but it's active when you become employed with a broker. All right. Does that make sense? Now, it's not a problem if you don't. Hey, Javi, it's not a problem if you do not activate it. You can keep your license. I knew a lady who had her license for 20 years. The thing is, though, remember this for the state exam. If you keep your license for 20 years and it's inactive, you still have to take all the courses. You still have to keep it up. Your continuing education, your post, all that stuff, you have to keep that up. So that's important to remember too. So you pass your state exam, your license status is current, but it's inactive. Okay. As soon as you hang your license with the broker, it becomes current and it becomes active. And at that point, you can join the National Association of Realtors. Okay. And they're based out of Chicago, but we live in Florida, or some of you probably are tuning in from another state. We have a lot of people get their license from other states. When you go ahead and become a member of National Association of Realtors, you automatically become a member of the Florida Realtors, and then you will be a member of your local board. Okay, that's where you sign up and register. You basically go to your local board. We have one on Marco Island where I live. We have one in Naples. I live in Naples, but down on Marco Island they have one. Have one in Naples, and they have one in Bonita. So usually within a 50-mile range, there's one or two um, boards that you have to be involved with. Okay. And there's requirements. So when you get out, you can't call yourself a realtor. You can call yourself a sales associate, real estate professional, things like that, but you cannot call yourself a realtor unless you are a member of the National Association of Realtors. So on the state exam, they might ask you, can you do that? And it is a violation. So you can't do that. All right. We got Javi in Naples as well. Yay, yay, yay. Big shout out to Naples. I think we got to do a little DJ air horn on that one. Yeah, maybe even an applause. We'll do a little applause in that. How you doing, Javi? Thanks for jumping in. Get you all licensed up, ready to go. Okay. So see that logo? I put that on there for a reason. That logo has to be just exactly like that. The words, the font, everything has to be just like that because they take that stuff very serious. You can't start making business cards and calling yourself a realtor unless you're a member. Okay. And there's guidelines, and you have to take ethics classes and things like that. But I will tell you, it's a tool that you need. It really helps you perform your duties as a real estate professional. Okay. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't want to jump out. Let's go. We got one last slide on here, and then we're going to go over some. We're going to go over some quick questions. We'll keep going here for a little bit. This is a little cheat sheet. I like to call this a cheat sheet. So All I need you to understand on the state exam, if you see words, hook them to other words, okay, when you study. Don't get caught up in the whole verbiage and all the long paragraphs and all that. If you see certain words, look for certain answers that have that word in it, okay? So, who maintains a property? Who maintains a property? It's going to be a property manager, right? Who maintains a property? A property manager. Now, if somebody receives a bonus on a transactional basis, now what does that mean? If you have an owner of an apartment complex that says, "Hey, Mister Property Manager, for every unit you rent, don't tell anybody. I'm going to give you $25." Real quick for the comments, do I need to be licensed if I'm getting a bonus? Do I need to be licensed if I'm getting a bonus? I need that have that in the comments. The answer is going to be yes. I don't care if it's a promise. I don't care if you never got a thing. If they promise you that they're going to give you money based on a unit or a sale that you did, that is going to be a bonus or an extra commission, and a license is required. Okay, license is going to be required. Now, if you are asked to appraise, if you are asked to appraise, thank you, Javi, jumping in on the answers. I like it. If you are asked to appraise a federally related loan, the answer is going to be no. If it's a federally related loan, we cannot um, be involved. I'm going to take that back a little bit. Federally related transaction. Federally related transaction. So if it's a VA, FHA, USDA, and actually a lot of other loans as well, chances are if we're working with the bank, we're not going to probably be able to do the appraisal unless the bank calls us and says, "Hey, we just have these properties out there. There's no transaction, no one's buying them. We just need to get a value." Then you can do a BPO. Okay, is everybody good on that one? Written opinion of value. So if you see the word BPO, broker's price opinion, what should you be looking for? You should be looking for the word written. Or if you see the question that says, "What is a written opinion of value?" you should be looking for BPO. Okay, not CMA. CMA is going to be between two values, opinion of value. Okay, USPAP. USPAP, we must go by their standards if we're doing an appraisal. And remember, lock in what USPAP stands for. All right, lock in what USPAP stands for. Now, what I want to do is I got to get my questions out here. We're going to do some flashcards real quick. And let's see how you guys do. Now, I really need you to help me participate in the comments because listen, if you get it wrong, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. We're all good here. We have a good time. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring up these flashcards, and I got my face in there. So real quick, let's talk about it. Primary reason, you might see this on the exam. Primary reason for the rapid growth of the property management profession in the state of Florida. What's the primary reason? Remember we talked about it. What type of ownership is it? Anybody remember what type of ownership? Okay, we're going to flip the card. It's going to be absentee ownership. Absentee ownership. All right. So when you see that on the state exam, it says absentee ownership. It's going to be that's one of the it's rapid growth in the state of Florida, or vice versa. What type of ownership is when an owner is not residing in the property? It's going to be absentee ownership. Okay, everybody good on that one? Now I'm going to go to the next one. I want to make sure you get the right ones. Licensing requirement for a property manager paid via commission or bonus. So this question is, does a property manager need to be licensed if he gets a commission or bonus? Okay, Javi's on it. Back a question. I go, maybe it's a little bit behind, but thank you, Javi. Real quick, does a property manager need to be licensed if they receive a commission or bonus? This is an easy one, right? Remember, we talked about it. Here we go. Yes, a real estate license is required. This is pretty easy because remember, it could be a very important. It could be a promise of getting it, or if they do get a bonus or a commission of some sort, then they must be licensed. All right, everybody good. We're zinging along on these things. Okay, now in the context of real estate compensation, yeah, I can go back to that question again. Sure, don't worry about it. That's going to be number 6. Sometimes I go a little fast because I'm getting the feedback. Um, you got that question? You good with that one? License requirement for a property manager paid via commission or bonuses. They got to be licensed. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. In the context of real estate compensation, the term bonus is considered a synonym for what? If somebody's getting a bonus, that is the same thing as a what? Does anybody know? If they're getting a bonus, is the same thing as what? And you don't have to spell the whole word out if you don't want, but there's a little delay. I'm sorry. Yeah, we are live in a couple different places. We're live on Facebook, but we're little delay. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit. I got Javi put up there. Are you live anywhere else or only YouTube since there's a small delay? I'm sorry about that. It's gonna be replayed as well, so you can get it on there. So let's look at that. Javi puts up there rebate. Close, right? This is gonna be commission. Okay, it's gonna be commission. So if there's again a bonus or something like that out there, for whatever it might be, it's gonna be a commission. Okay. First one. You want the first question? I'm sorry, there's a little delay, maybe. First question. The first question was number 3. We'll go back to it where you got some time. If you want the first one, the primary reason for the rapid growth of the property management profession, primary reason for rapid growth for the property management profession, that's going to be the number of absentee owners in the state of Florida. Okay, remember, a lot of people are moving here, so there's going to be a lot of absentee owners that are going to be involved with that. Okay. All right, let's go to another one. Condition for a sales associate to legally charge a fee for an appraisal. What is a condition for a sales associate to legally charge a fee for an appraisal? Okay. Ooh, this is a little bit tricky, but what do we got here? Okay. Let's go ahead and flip this one. Yes, the transaction, you can do an appraisal, remember, as long as it's not federally related. Okay. Federally related. Everybody good on that one? We'll get Javi's comment off. Gene, did you get yours? I'm Azilla. Gene, did you get yours okay? Just let me know if you got it all right. I went back and did it. Yes, you are welcome. All right, you guys are doing good. All right, so remember a couple things. I keep saying it. We just went over that one. Yep. We just covered that. So that's good. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, a restriction on the professional title used by a sales associate who performs an appraisal. Restriction of the professional title used by a sales associate who performs appraisals. All right. What's something we cannot call ourselves if we do an appraisal? If we do an appraisal for somebody, we can't do what? We can't call ourselves what? Everybody remember that one? We'll flip that card and we'll find out. We cannot refer ourselves or themselves as an appraiser. So we can do an appraisal for somebody. Remember, we got to follow the USPAP guidelines. We can get paid for it, but we can't call ourselves appraisers. Okay. And um, if you get paid for that, it has to go through the broker. All right. Very good. Avi's got it down. USPAP. I'm kind of watching in a couple different places, so I'm trying to keep everything going, making sure you can see it all. Now I'm going to go down to one of these other ones. We'll do this one real quick. Again, we like this. Yes, good one, Robin. Yes, cannot be a federal loan. Correct. Or let's actually go back on that. It can't be a federal transaction. So there might be some other federal stuff involved because what they want, the federal government, they want to have a professional that does it all the time. It's an appraiser. So that's kind of why. Good job. The cheat sheet. Okay, USP compliance requirement for a comparative market analysis. Do we need, and I need you guys all to chime in on this one. Do we need to abide by the USPAP if we are doing a CMA, a comparative market analysis? Must we abide? I'll give you a couple seconds to answer this one. Must we abide? Okay, I'm going to flip it. Remember, CMAs do not have to follow USPAP standards, nor do broker price opinions. Okay, so we're good. We do not have to abide by the USPAP for CMAs and broker price opinions. Okay, good job. You guys are, thanks for sharing. Here we go, Robin. Popping up there. Oh, let's do Robin. We got to do an air horn or something for Robin. Maybe a little bit of a, let's do a party noise. That's even better. There we go. All right, good job, Robin. Okay, I appreciate you guys jumping in and answering the questions because people watch this, they watch it down the line and they're gonna, want to see some feedback. So that's good. Okay. All right, next question. Let's go to 22. All right, payment protocol for a sales associate who performs a CMA for a fee. Now, what this is basically it's just trying to trigger some things, okay? This triggers like 2 or 3 questions for me. If a sales associate performs a CMA or BPO for that matter, or an appraisal, what's the payment protocol? How is that sales associate? How must they get paid? Who does it need to get paid to? Can it go directly to the sales associate? No. Who must get paid? Okay. And I'll give you guys a couple minutes because I know we're lagging just a little bit. Put it in there. Okay. Answer this question. A payment must go always to the broker first. Matter of fact, that's for any type of, thanks, Robin. That's for any type of real estate work that you do, has to go to your broker and down to you if it's related to your real estate duties. Okay. Very good. Excellent. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a couple more. Another one we need to know on this one, BPO stands for what? BPO stands for what? I said it a lot of times. Broker's price opinion. Broker's price opinion. Now, I want you guys to write in the chat the keyword we must remember. Broker's price opinion is a what opinion? What type of opinion is it? That's going to be on the state exam. They're going to be looking for this keyword. Broker's price opinion is what type of opinion? Okay. A broker's price opinion is a written opinion. Is a written opinion. Okay. Very good. All right. You guys are doing a great job. All right, Javi. I'm going to give it, put it up there. Put it up there, Javi. We got a little noise. Let's see what we got. Little air horn. All right. There we go. Good job. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to tell you where you can find more of these questions. Yes, good job, Robin. Has to go through the broker. Has to go through the broker. Yep, good job. Now, I'm going to do one more question, and I'm going to tell you guys where you can get all these questions, which is excellent. And just keep taking as many questions as you can. It's okay if you get them wrong. Just keep looking at the questions. Keep going over the questions. Going. Let's do the definition for track building. What's the definition for track building? Does everyone remember the differences? We've got track, we've got custom homes. Does anybody remember the other one? Okay. We got track, we got custom. I need help on the other one. All right. And we have spec homes, okay? Spec homes. Spec homes are going to be remembered, build, and they will come. A track home is usually a development where they're giving you a couple options. So you have a few options there. And then the custom home is basically build whatever you want, the granddaddy of it all. Okay. So very good. All right. Flip this over. A type of construction, residential, keyword residential, where a developer builds model homes in a subdivision for buyers to choose from. Buyers to choose from. There you go. BPO stands for broker's price opinion. Yep. Very good. All right, gang. I'm going to go ahead and make myself a little bit bigger here. And let's take a look at I'm going to put this in the chat where I want you guys to go. And this is going to be a fun, free quiz. Fun, free quiz. And I need you to just hit it right now. It's no big deal. Just go ahead and hit it. I'm giving it to you in the thing. And it's a quiz. You just keep taking it. And what's great about it, every time you can shuffle it up, redo it, it gives you new questions. And give me your feedback on it too. You can always get a hold of us. I've got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming out. We're going to be doing some live cram sessions. We'll go through the whole thing, but I'm going to be doing that shortly. So hey, you guys have been great. I appreciate you. I try to stay on for an hour. Let's try to do this again next week. Go into the Facebook group. Hopefully, I'll try to be able to email you, some of you, let you know when we're going to do it. We're going to try to do it maybe again on Thursday, maybe a weekend deal, or some other time too. So let us know what works for you. And remember, you can watch this, keep watching as many times as you want. Study, learn, have fun. And listen, remember, our number one goal is to make sure you pass the Florida real estate exam on the very first try. And guess what? We are out. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Thank you.